The interesting thing about Avatar is it's not really a movie. It's not really a game. It's an experience. It's like I've seen things that I can't wait for other people to see.
Avatar is an epic adventure fantasy set on the world of Pandora. Our hope is through other mediums, the fan base gets to explore the world of Pandora well beyond just the movie.
It really is the actual creation from scratch, from ground up, a universe that no one's ever seen before.
James Cameron wrote the story many years ago, but the technology wasn't there to build this story.
Now we've arrived at a point in time where he has the technology to be able to produce this.
This is the first time that I've been involved with a game from the inception of the movie project.
Ubisoft is really looking how to converge storytelling into their games, and that's the exact goal of filmmaking.
What they said to us was, we want to make a game from inside your thematic ideas outward.
We decided we would kind of push the limits and introduce new mythology. And we came up with it, we presented it to him, very nervous-like. Here you go. It went to James Cameron, he looked at it, said, I love it, added some features himself. It's canon.
We don't see it as them making the movie and us making the game. We see it as we're building a world together.
Then the thought was, working with Ubisoft, well, wait a minute, well, we're working in a game engine, you're working in a game engine. Maybe some of the assets that we've already generated, of which there are literally tens of thousands, are things you can use. The resounding answer back was, yeah, give us everything you've got. So we did. We basically kind of did a download of the world to them, and it worked out beautifully.
We have access to everything. Assets, concept arts, animations, sound files.
It's collaborative. It's more like let's brainstorm. Let's talk about what it is we can do with this world.
People will be really excited to be able to delve deeper into the world and to interact with these plants and these animals and see how they react with you. And I think the game gives them that opportunity to be able to have this interaction.
So we figured, let's build one world and create two ways of enjoying it simultaneously, separately and in parallel. I think the thing that sets the Avatar game apart is the sensory nature of the experience. I also feel like that the game is true in spirit to the movie, so I'm happy. Pandora is beautiful and deadly. When you first are introduced, the deadly part is what you see. And then as you go deeper, the beauty starts to unfold. And you realize that it's really paradise. It's really the Garden of Eden.
Pandora is a character in this film, in this game.
On Pandora, there's always a spin. It's never the obvious thing. It may look obvious at first, but there's always a torque to it.
One of the very exciting things that Jim has given us is the world of Pandora. The movie only can explore such a small sliver of this very exciting world.
In my mind, it's almost as if Pandora exists somewhere and you can go there, because we've willed it into that level of existence.
The ecosystem that exists on Pandora is, people will understand it. It's similar enough to what we know about the life around us on Earth, but it will be alien.
Pandora is beautiful and deadly. When you first are introduced, the deadly part is what you see. As you go deeper, the beauty starts to unfold. And you realize that it's really paradise. It's really the Garden of Eden.
At nighttime, Pandora becomes a gorgeous landscape of glowing flora and fauna. It's this element of bioluminescence that kind of lights up the world, like lifting a filter off of what you see in the daytime, and this whole other level of color and beauty just pierces through.
The humans are interested in Pandora because it has something that they want. So they come there, unfortunately, to pillage it.
We land on Pandora at a time when the Na'vi and the humans are in conflict with each other.
The Na'vis are living on Pandora. They are trying to defend their own territory. That's why there is a huge battle.
When you are in this planet as a human, you're a kind of a virus, because you're here and you are breaking the balance of the world. But as a Na'vi, it's the paradise, you know. They are living in perfect balance with the world.
When you wander the jungle, suddenly everything isn't against you. The Na'vi path is much more organic. It's more in harmony with the world.
Navis can connect to every creature on Pandora, and when they connect to a creature, they basically become one with it.
There's a permission that's granted. There's a dialogue between creature and Navi.
You know, you can ride around on a dire horse. We can ride around on banshees, which are kind of like pterodactyl-like, but they're totally unlike anything you've ever seen.
One of my favorite creatures in the world is the hammerhead.
It's a mix between, I'd say, a rhinoceros and an elephant. It's like a bull in a china shop. You get something that's sort of like this. It's kind of like that. It's pretty scary. I mean, I'm scary, but...
Pandora is also the uber cool world with lots of great monsters, alien creatures, and they have this kind of reality.
What's great about Pandora is you just don't know where the threats are going to come from. The whole place is like a danger zone.
You can play the game as an RDA trooper, or you can play the game as an avatar. You have two choices. So there are no good guys and bad guys. Maybe there's the possibility that you're going to see things differently.
The great thing about Avatar, the game, is that we've got this choice at the beginning. It becomes a question of what's the right thing for the player. Depending on the choice you make, you get a different game.
The choices you have to make are often challenging. You really want to do the right thing for the right reasons, and as you become more familiar with your character, his own redemption is sort of at stake.
And when Ubisoft came to us, they came to us not speaking about technology. They came to us about a game that was about the choices you make. The choices you make in the game affect the world around you and your play around you, and that's really exactly what the movie's about.
You can play the game as an RDA trooper, or you can play the game as an avatar. You have two choices. So there are no good guys and bad guys.
And it's a question of, you know, what's the right thing to do?
It has to do with perception. If you're told to expect something, that's what you're going to see. So you have to see beyond that. So one of the themes of the film is this idea of changing perception, changing the way you view other people, other cultures, and this environment. So, you know, Pandora is kind of a metaphor for that.
The players are presented with the same overall dilemma that the main characters in the movie are presented with.
On one side, you have the technology, the RDA that came to Pandora to harvest.
From an RDA perspective, they're just trying to do a job to get stuff back to Earth.
Fighting for the RDA is what every gamer is expecting. Big weapons, a lot of explosions, big vehicles.
It's all about your technology. You rely heavily on the gadgets you have, the hardware, the military firepower. You have a variety of weapons to choose from, as well as a small arsenal of vehicles.
And then there's the Navi. The Navi are the indigenous people on Pandora who've lived there for thousands and thousands of years, living in perfect harmony with the world until the humans arrive.
As an avatar, you're gonna discover the life, the culture of the Navi, and you're gonna find actually a reason to fight for.
Right away, your perspective changes. Whereas before you were kind of looking up like this at all the Navi, you instantly feel much more powerful. The trees are your friends like they never were as a corp.
Fighting in your avatar body will have a completely different pace. It'll be more around melee combat. It'll be more about evaluating the situation and being a little bit more strategic about going in.
It's an entirely different set of missions. It fits in with the overall story arc, but it's a very different perspective.
You're a 10-foot tall soldier.
Avatar the game is basically the story of two worlds in conflict. And it becomes a question of what is the right thing for you to do, and you go down two different paths. When you do that, you effectively get two games in one.
You've got great kick-butt military hardware. This is good old-fashioned chemical-powered projectile weapons that throw a lot of brass and make a lot of noise and have a lot of recoil.
This game is pretty intense. It's a big world on the brink of destruction, and you're stuck in the middle of it.
We try to give this feeling to the player that is always, under attack. So you always to be careful of what you're doing.
Like when you're in the thick of a firefight with the Navi, and the Corp. You've got choppers flying around, you've got the Banshees zipping by you.
You've got soldiers in ATVs shooting all over the place.
Plants that are attacking you, you've got creatures that are attacking you from all different angles.
You can call in airstrikes and those blast the hell out of everything.
Everything is blowing around you. You're just running for your life because you're in the middle of this battle.
The Corporation has a very large arsenal of weaponry.
So they're kind of this force that can just rip through the land and overpower whatever's in front of them.
You've got great kick-butt military hardware. And so it looks and feels real. It's not lasers and things that are hard to relate to. This is good old-fashioned chemical-powered projectile weapons that throw a lot of brass and make a lot of noise and have a lot of recoil.
My favorite weapon still is the flamethrower, because you can go in the world and burn everything.
Putting this world to flame, it's nice, all right? It's pretty cool.
The coolest weapon I would say for the RDA has to be the amp suit. As a player, you sit in the belly of this machine and it really kind of mimics your actions.
Huge mech, extremely agile.
It's just kind of what you imagine for brute force and bullets.
We got some pretty awesome flying machines.
You can fly these Scorpions, which are these single pilot choppers, and fire off these rockets that just kind of go pew, 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 which is really pretty cool.
Never underestimate the Na'vi. They are peaceful people, you know, but they are also warriors.
When you see them coming, they're scary. They're not Ewoks, right? They are warriors.
They use bone, they use wood.
Leather, volcanic glass, weapons like fighting staff. They have an axe.
You have dual blades, which are probably the most savage out of all of them.
A neurotoxin-tipped bow and arrow.
Which sounds like, oh, okay, but they're huge, right? So it's like a massive arrow coming out at you. So they're pretty powerful.
Where the Corp have vehicles, the Na'vi have creatures. We can ride around on a Thanator, which is super awesome.
The Thanator is like a huge tiger. You can ride it. You can attack people.
It's fast, it's big, it's extremely scary.
It's a big game. You have two different experiences.
Different gameplay, different mechanics, different vehicles, different weaponry, even the combat itself.
And each of them tailored for different kind of experience.
Looking around the landscape of other licensed games, there's got to be a way to do this better. The question was, could we do something really unique that hadn't been done before, or take it to a new level?
It was very important to us that the game not try to retell the story of the movie. We challenged Ubisoft to come up with the best possible stories that would service the best possible video game.
Avatar the game isn't just a little adventure where we recreate the movie in a video game format.
Video games have to stand on their own merits. That's something that Ubisoft has brought to the table. It's an expansion of the universe of Pandora.
We didn't want to just make a game for fanboys. James Cameron and his crew wanted us to make the game based on the world of Pandora.
The game's going to be fun for hardcore gamers because it gives you a lot of things. You've got two single-player paths.
A lot of battles, a lot of vehicles, a lot of possible ways to deal with situations. This game is pretty intense.
Looking around the landscape of other licensed games, there's got to be a way to do this better. The question was, could we do something really unique that hadn't been done before, or take it to a new level?
Avatar definitely appeals to a wide range of players. Hardcore gamers will enjoy the multiplayer aspect of it.
You're gonna have this great battle in single player, and you can actually continue this battle online.
If you like the single player game, it's going to be fun just like to go and explore more of your character in multiplayer.
We have such a great setting for multiplayer. You have two different factions with two different sets of values, two different gameplays also.
I don't like playing multiplayer games myself that feel like you're just two people that have the same skill sets fighting each other. This is different. It's a little bit more like rock, paper, scissors. The Corporation probably more like the scissors because it's like, technology. And then you have the Na'vi are like rock because it's all brute force. Lots of big, heavy swinging sticks. And then you have the third wild card element is paper, which is the environment itself. It offers a lot of very interesting possibilities.
So when actually you have an assault rifle, you're going to fight against a guy with a big axe or with a dual blade. So there is really two different ways of approaching the fight. So we expect that we're going to bring something new in terms of the gameplay and the multiplayer because of that.
Avatar the game is a huge expansion to the world that James Cameron created. We've got sections of the planet that you've never seen before. We've got characters that you've never met before. I think we're going to blow their minds when they actually see just how rich and how deep everything goes.